Honda didn't have a diesel engine of their own until they launched the 2.2 in 2003. However, its relatively large capacity can prove something of a handicap in the search for lower emissions and greater fuel economy. So, this year, Honda built another diesel engine, the 1.6 i-DTEC, and we're testing it for the first time in the Honda Civic. Despite the new engine, the rest of the Civic package remains largely unchanged. The 9th generation Civic launched in late 2011 with, in Honda's words, standout looks. We'll leave subjective judgments on the styling to you and your personal preference, but the biggest changes came at the front with a large inset section to the bumper and powerful LED daytime running lights. While at the rear, the light clusters and spoiler are more prominent, and Honda relented and gave us a rear wiper that was sorely needed on the old car. A pair of tiny spoilers have been added to the Civic's flanks to help smooth out airflow, while the hidden handle for the rear door continues to fool the eye into thinking the Civic is a 3-door hatchback, not a 5. The larger rear lights are now a functional aerodynamic device, and the spoiler that stretches across the rear window also houses a high-level stoplight. Inside, the dual-level dash layout remains, although it's been tweaked somewhat and uses high-quality materials. There's an appealing chunky steering wheel to hold, and the seats offer an excellent range of adjustment and plenty of headroom in the front. The cabin is designed to wrap around the driver, and the controls, which are all intelligently placed, operate with a satisfying well-oiled quality. The instruments can look a little Star Trek on first acquaintance, but they remain clear and well positioned. There's a useful array of cubby holes dotted around the cabin, including a large compartment under the central armrest that also provides USB connectivity and charging points for your phone or iPod. The rear seats are particularly clever. In fact, Honda call them magic seats. Fold the rear seat backs forward and the seat base dives down to create a completely flat load floor. Alternatively, the seat bases can be folded up to allow tall loads to be carried in the cabin. In the boot, there's 401 litres of space with the seats in place, rising to 1,378 litres with the seats folded and loaded to the roof. There's also a further 76 litres available in a handy underfloor storage compartment, and a special cubby hole in the boot wall to hold the now ubiquitous air compressor and can of tyre gunk. Now let's talk about that engine. The new 1.6 litre diesel is 47 kilograms lighter than the 2.2 and produces a respectable 120 PS with peak torque of 300 Nm. That's only 50 Nm less than 2.2. Its official figures show 94 grams per kilometre and 78.5 mpg, while our test showed a 60 mpg average perfectly achievable. Although Honda say the Civic is equipped with an active noise cancellation system to help reduce drivetrain noises, we found a touch too much diesel clatter enters the cabin, particularly at idle. On the move, however, things settle down, leaving just a slightly gruff thrum to remind you which fuel you're burning. Other noises are well filtered, with tyre noise kept in check and a notable absence of wind noise. And on the subject of noises, our test car had clocked up nearly 15,000 miles, but didn't emit a single rattle. There's a modest amount of turbo lag, only at the deepest recesses of the rev range, but that's soon replaced by a healthy wodge of torque that drives you forward with surprising rapidity. There's only a gradual drop-off in power as you venture closer to the red line, certainly nothing like the torque cliff that some diesel engines suffer from, and in practice it serves as a natural reminder to change gear. And with a new 6-speed manual gearbox to play with, that's something that's particularly enjoyable. It's 7 kilograms lighter than the box used for the 2.2 litre car, and Honda have endowed it with a short throw and beautifully fluid shift action that makes steering your way through the ratios an enjoyable experience. Overtaking slower moving traffic is easy, and the new engine's torque reserves mean a simple flex of your right ankle is usually enough to dispense with most obstacles. The suspension has been retuned to compensate for the new engine's lighter weight and soaks up bumps and even small potholes without transmitting too much of a disturbance into the cabin. Although equipped with a feeling of stability at speed, the body can suffer from the occasional bout of lateral pitching over undulations, and encountering prolific overbanding use by local authorities mid-corner can cause a Civic to alter its line briefly. However, the Civic resists initial body roll well, and on a country road, corners with surprising alacrity. Add in the well-balanced electric power steering, and the new diesel Civic becomes a willing companion on any journey. With the Civic range starting at 16,995, some may suggest that the 1.6 i-DTEC's 19,575 is a premium too far. But we counter that by pointing out that even the base SE grade is well equipped, with alloy wheels, remote locking, all-round electric windows and climate control as standard. Honda is famous for its VTEC equipped petrol engines, and there are two, a 1.4 and a 1.8, still available in the Civic range. What's remarkable though is that we discount both of those and would instead steer potential Civic buyers to either of the i-DTEC diesel units. Given that the 1.6 loses little to its bigger brother but gains plenty, it's our pick of the range. And that's no mean feat for a company that, until recently, didn't do diesel.